All right, so we've learned a ton of ways that we can adjust our image. And by now you should have a lot of knowledge under your belt on how to actually make an image look the way that you want it to look. So why don't we go back to our homework and use the tools that we've learned so far. All right, so here we are again. Again, we are in the homework timeline. I'm gonna go ahead and open up homework Casey's grade so that you can see what I do here, but you just stay on the homework timeline, or you can make a duplicate if you want to, whatever. And I'm gonna close our timeline and close our gallery so we have a little bit of room to work here. Let's start with shot 1. One of the things that we've learned so far is that this log footage needs to be color managed. That's why it looks like that. Now, again, we could use the primary tools here to kind of normalize this, but again, we're putting a lot of creativity into it here. If we did want to do that, we could do something like roll down on our lift here, bringing up the scopes, looking at our parade, and rolling that down until the bottom of the parade just touches that 0. And then rolling up on our gain to where her skin is coming up here around like 768, somewhere in there. We could boost up the saturation. We could maybe take down the gamma, and we'd have a pretty nice looking shot to start out with. And because we've learned about nodes, we can hit Alt-S, add a serial node, and we could take this hue wheel and move that around to make her a different color. And we have that split up in our primary balance and changing her color there. Like I said, that's okay, but what we really want to do is do this color managed. So I'll just reset all grades. I'll make a new node by hitting Alt-S. We can go up to Effects, go down to Color Space Transform, and we'll put our input color space as Blackmagic Design Wide Gamut Gen 4.5, input gamma, Blackmagic Design Film Gen 5, output color space, Rec 709, output gamma, Rec 709. And we're going to go to gamut mapping right here and switch that to saturation compression. If that's a lot to think about, don't worry about it. You only need to do it like once per project, just about. And as we set these settings more and more, it'll become automatic. So I'll close our effects. And now here in our first node, we have it pretty much normalized because of the color space transform. And now I can just switch the hue around and change her color. Let's move on to shot 2. Because this was shot on the same kind of camera, we can actually middle button mouse click right here, and that'll copy our grade from shot 1 onto shot 2. Of course, we have our first node here, which is doing our hue shift, which we don't really want. So I'm going to take this and right click on it and say reset node grade. Let's also just label these CST for color space transform on that second one. And this one, remember, we were going to try and make this look really harsh. Now, depending on how you think about something that looks harsh, you may have gone any number of ways. But one thing that we can do to make something look really harsh is to boost the contrast up. So I'll just grab this contrast slider and boost it up a lot. Now it looks really, really harsh. Maybe take the saturation down a little bit. And now we have this really, really strong look, probably stronger than I would normally go, but that's how we would use those tools to kind of accomplish that. And of course, we could adjust our contrast here with this pivot and kind of decide where we want to keep that detail. Next shot, let's go to shot 3. Again, I'll middle button mouse click on either of these shots because I'm going to get rid of the first node. I'll middle button mouse click on the second shot. I'll go up to this first node, reset node grade. And now we have a pretty nice looking shot right here, but we want this to feel kind of cool, kind of blue, right? So one thing we could do is just take this temperature down a little bit and push that towards cold. And I feel like that's a pretty good option. And now this feels a lot more cold. Looks like it might be at night. And that's really all we need to do to accomplish those looks. So now we have her normalized with a different color. We have this really, really harsh, way too strong of a look. And then we have kind of the cooler look here on shot 3. I'll just label these nodes to be a good kid. And now you can go back and open this up in the Casey's grade timeline to take a look at what we've done. So it's my hope that after going through those chapters kind of in between these homework lessons, that you feel a lot more empowered to actually take a hold of your images and move them around. This kind of progress is really fun and one of my favorite parts about learning anything new.